This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it is Tuesday, so that means it's time for What in the World? You.
Oh. Hi, Karen.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm here. I'm in What in the World? It's
Yes.
a nice day, nice weather. Here with Karen Hale, our producer and co-host at newclevelandradio.net on What in the World. And somewhere on the screen is John Dinallo, our other co-host and sports guy. And
hi, Paul. Hi, Karen.
Hey,
how
glad
are
to
you
see
today,
you.
John?
Good to see you folks again.
You've been out in the warm weather today?
Oh, the weather's outstanding. It's 68 degrees here in the Cleveland area.
Definitely.
And it's going to snow this weekend.
Yeah, that's
Well, can't stand the prosperity.
Yeah.
I'll tell a quick story for some of our friends who have been here. The lovely Donna was out yesterday, and we have sticks along our driveway, so you can see where it is in the snow. And the symbolic gesture of end of winter is to pull up the sticks. So she pulled them up yesterday, and I said, "This is it, boy, fire up the snowblower one more."
It won't last long.
No, it surely won't. So you're here with What in the World? We talk about everything, including Cleveland weather. But more often than not, we cover the weird, strange, and unusual things that are going on around the world, around the universe. We go out into space and other planets and galaxies. We try to stay grounded on Earth. I think just about all the stories today will be there. Our motto is real news, which it is, sometimes strange, which is more than sometimes, and hopefully always funny. So that's my job. John's job is to point out whether it's really strange or just strange or.
That's well said, Paul. That's well said.
That's right. And Karen just shakes her head and lets us come back for another week. So,
Absolutely.
So I think that based on that, let's just get right into it here. I should say that thank you for, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. If you're listening to a podcast, I want to point out something that, especially today, because I have a lot of photos today. We try to for those that are just listening to the podcast, we try to be descriptive of what I'm showing on the screen. A day like today, I want to mention, you may want to go to the podcast when you're done, just to take a look at some of the photos we've been using. I think you might enjoy those. But you can find all that stuff at newclevelandradio.net. Click on my name, follow the links. That will take you to all of the great platforms, all the platforms that Karen has our podcast on, plus YouTube. And then once you listen to us, please go visit some of her other great podcasts. They're, you name it, they run the gamut. They're a What in the World of podcasts. So we have a couple of things right from down the street here. And this, in fact, Karen sent this to me today. So let's take a look at this photo here, and then I'll attempt to explain it, or maybe I should have her explain it. But that Karen emailed this to me just about an hour ago and asked if I wanted either one of them. What we're looking at is two statues of Bigfoot looking into something called the feed barn, which looks like a barn, although it looks like it's in a residential area.
Well, I think it's actually like a car mechanic place. So my husband is down in Newcomersville, wherever that is, in Ohio. And he saw this and he said, I think Paul would like one of these. Should I buy one? And I said, no.
Yeah, that was a smart move, Karen. So, John, I'm looking at these things and I said to Karen, it looks like they're taking a dump. So right off the bat, I know Donna wouldn't let me have one if that's what they look like. That's a typical Bigfoot pose if you're a connoisseur of Bigfoot statues. I'm not sure why they don't have the Bigfoot standing upright when they, ask them to model.
Well, their arms are so long, like almost like a gorilla,
Yeah.
and I think they're too heavy to stand up straight.
Okay, we'll go with that, Karen.
Okay.
And why on earth are they looking? Maybe they're trying to steal the car.
Maybe.
In the interest of, I don't know what it's the interest of. One of them is brown and the other one is white.
Yeah.
It's equal opportunity Bigfoot photos here. Or maybe one's a Yeti or an abominable snowman. But why would they be looking in an auto mechanic's place? That doesn't. It's the perfect. Tell your husband it's the perfect picture to open What in the World with.
I will tell him. Yep.
We'll
And then he'll send you more, I'm sure.
That's what I'm afraid of. Yeah, just don't buy anything. Because the lovely Donna would say no to that as well, and then somebody's got to pay for it.
Yeah.
I don't think he could fit that into his car anyways.
No, I don't think so. No.
A big statue. But speaking of your husband, Karen, I have a photo for you that I was going to send you, but we'll just use it on What in the World. So if you're a regular listener, you may have heard us talk about Karen's robotic vacuum cleaner. I won't mention the name of it. But
We traded it in.
You have had a number of problems with it, I guess.
Yes.
To describe it. So, I have sympathy. I have one as well, and we've had problems, but none as serious as Karen has, to the point where you've actually taken it in for service, if I remember correctly.
3 times, and now they exchanged it, and this one won't see the internet.
Which is a bad thing, because they apparently communicate with the home office.
Yep.
I believe they're sending pictures of your layouts so that somebody can break in. But that actually came from an X-Files episode, which was very interesting. But so, Karen, as bad as your robotic vacuum cleaner problems are, someone has worse ones. And I'm going to show you a picture of this person who has a worse problem than you.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to read this for those who don't have who aren't watching on YouTube. It's a poster on a telephone pole, and it says "Lost Roomba." His name is Higgins, 35 centimeters by 9 centimeters high, 2.8 kilograms, does not bite. Roomba app info, battery 3%, pretty low. Dustbin 190%, which I believe would be pretty full. My husband left our bungalow door open, and the Roomba escaped. 3 exclamation points.
Yeah.
We followed his cleaning track for 4 kilometers down to the beach, where we lost his trail. Higgins cannot swim. Please help us bring Higgins back. And they even have little tear-offs at the bottom with their phone number. Now, since they gave all of the measurements in the metric system, I'm guessing that this is in England or somewhere non-United States.
Sure.
But so there you go, Karen. Somebody who has a worse Roomba problem than you do.
Well, you know what? If you send me that picture, I'll post it on Facebook so we can help Higgins come home.
Oh, okay. I will do that. I will.
Okay.
All right. So let's get to some more weird stories that are not of a personal nature. John, are you doing all right over there? You look like you may be doing some maintenance on.
Somehow I lost Karen. I see you, Paul. Okay, and then I see the video the photo you have of lost Roomba.
All right.
So I don't know if I can get back to where I was before with the shared screen.
See. Yeah, jiggle some cords or whack it.
No. I think once you take the picture off, he will see you.
Well, let's see. He won't see me, or he won't see you.
No, he'll see us all.
Well, let's see what happens.
Well, I see Karen now because she's okay. I'm back now.
Yeah.
I'm back. Okay. Wonderful.
Okay.
The Roomba did us in. The Roomba did us in.
All right. Well, let's move on to some other this was a good intro to our next story, which is another robot story. Mars Wrigley, which is the people who own the Mars Candy Company and make Wrigley's gum and all that stuff. They've developed an autonomous robot. That means it makes all of its own decisions, goes around all by itself, shaped like a candy display. So I'm going to show you a picture of this candy display. I guess you must have lost part of you there. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's a robotic candy display that goes around, follows you around the store with tempting you with candy and gum and whatever chiclets and I don't know what else is on there, Skittles.
Snickers.
Yeah.
Snickers are represented. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are all obviously Mars products. And so my first thought is, what is the poor Perseverance robot up on Mars thing? Because he thinks he's the Mars robot. And now there's this thing, and he must be thinking, that looks like an easier job. Instead of spending a year traveling to get to Mars, and I'm up here in dust and have to dig holes, and this guy's got it great.
I think that would be great when my husband goes to Sweeties to buy candy, because my husband would run after it.
Sweeties, for those who don't know, Sweeties is a giant candy warehouse with every, not only current candy, but all the stuff you grew up with. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about. I'm glad you brought that up, Karen. A little bit about candy here. So if you look at the picture on the right, it even has a built-in card reader. So it goes around and it tempts you. So you can't just say, okay, give me a bag of M&Ms and go away, because it wants you to pay for it. So it follows until you pay for what you picked up, and then it goes finds another sucker. This is like, like when the Jehovah Witnesses come to your door. I just say, give me the magazine and go. I'll read it.
Exactly.
They won't let you do this. It follows you around. So of course, Hershey's is working on it too. They're major competitor. They're going to put a voice on it, which they sell Almond Joy. So they're going to put a voice on it, just to follow you around, saying sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. What do you feel like? And just annoy the heck out of you until you buy something. And then they also make Reese's. So they're working on one that's going to be not on wheels, but on feet, like E.T. And it's going to be following you around saying, Elliot, Reese's Pieces, phone home, give me your phone. This is not a good idea. Not for candy. Free samples, I could go for. If they followed me around the store with free samples, like one of the major warehouse chains, I might consider it. But following me around with candy, trying to get me to buy it, I don't know about that. So that's our intro to a whole series of candy stories I have here. Now, there's a very rare candy that is made with honey. John, you know what candy I might be thinking of?
No, not offhand.
That would be Bit of Honey.
Bit of Honey, yeah.
Oh, yes.
The only candy bar that I could think of that's made with honey. And this is an old, now you would find this at that store that Karen mentioned, B.A. Sweetie. I don't think they even sell them in the stores anymore.
I don't think so.
Yeah, 1924 was when Bit of Honey came out. First and maybe only candy product made with honey, made by the Shooter Johnson Company in Chicago, Illinois. Back in the day when every major city had a candy manufacturer. And it was 6 pieces. You can see there's 6 pieces wrapped in wax paper, of all things, and covered with a bright red wrapper and a little bee on it. And it was advertised as being long chewing, which is code words for your dentist will love it.
Yeah, because it pulled out fillings.
not a.
It always stuck to your teeth.
Yeah.
It always stuck to your teeth. You never get it all out.
Well,
Yeah.
we're going to find out what the tooth fairy thinks of this in a minute because I have a tooth fairy story. So eventually the company sold out to Nestle, and then Nestle sold it to Spangler. And we talked about Spangler candy before. They're based in Bryan, Ohio, right down the street from us. And they're the suppliers of a lot of these old candy products. So I like to do a local plug in here. Nestle, I don't think Nestle even makes chocolate anymore. I think they sold the chocolate business to Ferrero. You know, that those expensive candies you see, those are the top shelf ones at the grocery store.
I thought Stouffer's and Nestle's merged.
Oh, maybe they did. Maybe, but I don't know if they still.
Yeah, I think Nestle's bought Stouffer several years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're going to talk a little bit about honey, a little more about honey here. The Guinness, you know how we love to talk about world records. A world honey record was set last week. Guinness World Record reported that the Centauri Honey Company in Turkey set a world record for the most expensive honey. Get ready for this. It sells for $5,400 a pound, which is probably just a big jar. You know, that's 16 ounces. That's a pound of honey. $5,400. Why is it so expensive, you might ask? Because it comes from a single cave in Turkey, 8,000 feet high. So it's on a mountain, guarded by these giant killer bears, kind of like those Bigfoot that we were looking at. And you can only harvest it once a year, I guess, when the bears are hibernating or something. So, I mean, here's an idea how expensive it is. You know the Burt's Bees stuff? That's everybody buys Burt's Bees.
Yep.
At the grocery store for Lip Balm. You know, the lovely Donna likes rubbing that stuff. $5,400 a pound. Every time you rub it on your lips once, that's $100.
Oh, God.
You buy this stuff, you know, I'm going to say, hey, here's some lard or, something other than butter. Anything is cheaper than this stuff for lip balm. And I have a picture of it. It's not, from what the description says, this is up in the top of the mountain.
Wow.
It comes in a fancy jar. It should for $5,000. It doesn't even taste sweet, Karen. It's bitter. They use it for medicine rather than for like cough syrup or something. I know it is.
Bitter honey?
Pardon?
Bitter honey?
Bitter honey, yeah. I know that's an oxymoron.
Yes, yeah.
Magnesium, potassium, and antioxidants. So, if it's got antioxidants, it must be good. That's what everybody says. You have to be brave, obviously, to go up into this cave once a year and fight off the bees and get this expensive honey. Unless you call this lady in Texas who calls herself the Bee Whisperer, kind of like the horse whisperer, only she does it for bees. I think I have a picture of her here. There she is. Okay, so her name is Erica Thompson, and Erica is a beekeeper in Texas. She was called in by a couple who had bees. They heard humming in their garage. So she goes in, or maybe it's a barn, I'm not sure. She goes in there, and there's bees living underneath the floor of this building. So she cuts a hole, and then she goes in there with her bare hands.
No face mask or anything.
None of that beekeeper stuff, she doesn't look like she's not in any hazmat. And I had a video. I wish I could show the video. She reaches in with her hand, and her hand is covered. She pulls them out with her hand and puts them into a container, and then she relocates the bees.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
Bee Whisperer. So I can just, she posted the video on TikTok, and millions of people have seen it, which was a mistake because those murder hornets, remember them?
Yeah.
They have TikTok too. And, they see her reaching in and messing with bees. And they go, hold my beer and watch this. They had to make a beeline for her. And then she's in big trouble. But that's what she does. She apparently has some kind of magical powers over bees. And that allows her to do all this stuff without any protection.
How does she not get stung?
Pardon?
How does she not get stung by the bees?
I don't know, John. That's the mystery inside the enigma here. I don't know how she does it. She claims she's a bee whisperer. I don't know. Maybe she's wearing some weird perfume. Or deodorant. I'm not sure. But very, very nice looking lady. She has, I had some other pictures that I said, no, I think I do have another one here that look like they could come out of a fashion magazine. There she is pointing to the bees with her bare hand. It's like, how do you figure out that you can do this? I don't know. But I brought up the subject of the killer hornets, the murder hornets, which was a big story last year. So they're back, of course. And they're not just in Washington State, but now they're in Canada. So the governments of the United States and Canada are asking, bee people to go up there, entomologists they call them, and do something about it. And unfortunately, these areas are full of cable TV producers that are making murder hornet specials. So you got murder hornets, then you got cable TV people, then you got the people trying to catch them. It's bad. So this is, and if you need to see what they look like, this is for you, John, because I know you've never seen a murder hornet, but this is what they look like.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Perfect.
For those of you who are at home, I have a picture of the killer bees from Saturday Night Live, who were pretty dangerous themselves. You can see Elliot Gould over to the right.
Yes.
He had a band of bullets across him, and John Belushi has a knife to Gilda Radner's throat. So these are killer bees.
They are.
So anyway, so they're asking for volunteers to help them catch the murder hornet. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to sit outside with, let me make sure I got this, orange juice and brown sugar, because that's what attracts the killer bees. Orange juice and brown sugar. So I can just see, I'm in Washington, it's Seattle. I'm sitting on my patio. I've got a bowl of cereal with brown sugar on it, and I've got orange juice. And from my neighbor's yard comes this tall gentleman, or he looks like a gentleman, in a striped suit, and he sits down and he starts buzzing about his kids. And before you know it, I'm dead from the murder hornet. So, I don't know about volunteering, but I do know about candy, and I know about going to the dentist and tooth fairies, and that all of this candy and bee stuff leads to my next story about the tooth fairy. And I'm going to take this down here because I think I'm done with photos for a little while here.
Okay.
Killer bee. So there's believe it or not, you thought that the tooth fairy was a myth. Well, it's not. It turns out there's a lady in Bradford, England, called the Bradford Tooth Fairy. She works at Bradford University. That's where she gets the name. She can look at your tooth, and once it's in your hand, out of your mouth, obviously. And she can tell that where you were born, where you grew up, and what you ate all of your life. Santa Claus only knows if you're naughty or nice. This woman knows your entire life story just from looking at your teeth, which is why she's called the tooth fairy. Because what she does is she looks at teeth from people around the world and can tell if they're not eating right. So why is this an interesting story? In England, there's this place called the Palace of Westminster. John, have you ever heard of the Palace of Westminster?
I have not.
That is where I had neither. I had to look it up, so don't feel bad. That's where the Houses of Parliament meet these days.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Used to be a palace back in the 11th century, and there was a chapel underneath it. And in that chapel were priests and monks, and they were digging in this chapel back in the early 90s, and they found a bunch of bones and teeth that they couldn't identify. So what did? They put them in a box and put them on a shelf and forget about them. So which you don't do. Well, once you find out how much teeth are worth these days, you would never do that again. So this tooth fairy, they find somebody heard about her and they say, oh, maybe she can tell us something about the teeth. So they take a box of teeth to her, and she finds out that they're from these 800-year-old monks who joined the monastery when they were children, because she can tell they had really poor diets up until they were 7 years old. And then all of a sudden they started eating really well. And that's because the monks and the priests were very well fed back in those days. So unfortunately, the kids had to become priests to keep on getting that food. But anyway, that's what she found out. So now I know, Karen, you had a child losing, wow, at least not baby teeth, I would say. Would that be fair?
You cut in and out there. Say that one more time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's
Okay.
see. You haven't had a child losing teeth voluntarily in a while.
No.
No, okay. And John and I don't have children, so we haven't had that at all.
By the way, if you want a child, I have 2 of them.
But I do have grandnieces and nephews, and but let's go back to when we were kids and we lost baby teeth. Now I can remember that what you do then is you put it under your pillow.
Right.
I can remember getting a dime, maybe a quarter, that when times were good. John, do you remember what you got?
Always change. It was always change. It wasn't like a dollar bill.
Yeah.
The going rate today, $4.71 per tooth.
Really?
I would have thought it was more.
Well, it is in the Northeast United States. It's $5.75.
Oh.
The Midwest brings it down because of the economy. But on average, it's trending to $5. It was in 1998, it was $1.30. So back when we were kids, it was 10 cents.
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
but and not only is it expensive to lose a tooth, at least for the tooth fairy who has to pay us, but you have all this paraphernalia that goes along with it. You have a special pillow that you put underneath it. You have a special pouch that you put the tooth in.
Right.
You have a special pad that says "Dear Tooth Fairy" on it, and you write a note to the tooth fairy, I guess hoping that you'll get more money. Excuse me. And you have an envelope that the tooth fairy's supposed to use to put the money in. So, if it's an envelope, you're obviously expecting bills, not or a check.
Right.
So, and then you have to explain to your kids now that with the first couple of teeth, I think they're too young to understand anything. But eventually, you have to explain the tooth fairy and why this is it seems like a good thing to lose your teeth and get money, but it's not. The tradition of the tooth fairy comes from Northern Europe, from like the Scandinavian countries. This was a Norse thing, where they had something called the tooth fee, that you got money for your first tooth, not for all of them, just for the first one. And the Norse believed that teeth had special powers. So they would take them into battle with them. They would wear necklaces of their children's teeth around their neck, thinking like the Vikings, thinking that it's going to protect them from whoever their enemies are. So that's what the Scandinavians did. Now, there are different versions of the fairy around the world. I want to talk a little bit. In Spain, in some of the Spanish countries, and in the South America, instead of a tooth fairy, they have a tooth mouse. Perez Mouse, it's called. And he brings money. In Italy, now this is the one I like. This is for you, John. In Italy, the tooth fairy job is handled by Saint Apollonia. Have you ever heard of Saint Apollonia? Do you remember that from grade school?
No, I don't, Paul. No, I can't say that I do.
I don't either, but I'm going to show you a picture of her, and maybe you'll recognize Saint Apollonia. Oh, we still have the killer bees here. Saint Apollonia, there we go. So Saint Apollonia Her feast day, by the way, for Catholics is February 9th. She's the patron saint of dentists. And this is like a holy card, a holy picture of Saint Apollonia holding a wrench with a tooth in it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's the patron saint. Now, she was a martyr, and apparently she was martyred by someone pulling her teeth out. That's as close as I want to get to how it actually happened.
Wow.
So yeah, she's the patron saint of dentistry and people with toothaches and dental problems. So if you have a toothache, you're supposed to pray to Saint Apollonia, and she finds you a cheap dentist or something. I'm not really sure how that goes. And if you think that picture is bad, John, take a look at this one here. That just in case you don't understand the message. This is Saint Apollonia is now holding a wrench that's bigger than she is, with a giant tooth over her head. So in case you don't remember what she's the patron saint of,
Wow.
that little statue certainly will tell you. Now in Japan, this is in Spain, they throw the teeth up on the roof, and there's a fairy called Mary the fairy, on the roof, and she takes the teeth away, and she's supposed to bring you good luck. In Japan, instead of throwing the teeth on the roof, they throw upper teeth down and lower teeth up. And that's supposed to make your teeth grow in the right direction. I don't know. The money sounds like a better deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
South Korea, now in South Korea, you throw all your teeth up on the roof. And magpies are supposed to come and take them away and bring you luck or leave you a gift, one or the other. I'm sure everybody wants.
I'm sure they'll leave gifts.
I don't know what kind of gift a magpie leaves.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that it's a messy one.
Yes.
So anyway, so that's it. That's the end of our candy tooth segment of What in the World for this.
Wow. Interesting.
So now we're going to move on to some science fiction. William Shatner, better known as Captain Kirk, the original Captain Kirk, is boldly going where no man has gone before by celebrating his 90th birthday, which was just the other day, with the creation of an artificial intelligent version of himself. What he does is he records himself answering questions about his life and his career. And they feed it into artificial intelligence and create a video. And then, people like us can go in and ask an image of William Shatner, gee, what was it like to work with Leonard Nimoy? And he answers it. And they enter enough questions in there that they can pretty much deal with just about anything that might be asked. So this is supposed to be his legacy. It's basically gives him immortality, you might say. He's long after he's gone, this artificially intelligent Captain Kirk will still be around. So I'm thinking what he really wishes is that he could put that intelligence into a robot or an android that looks like Captain Kirk. And then when these green alien women finally show up, he'll be ready for them because he knew how to deal with them from Star Trek. And if you don't remember what the green alien woman looks like, Karen, I think I have a picture of her right here.
Oh.
This is one of my favorite pictures of all time. This is from the pilot episode of the original Star Trek. It was called The Cage, I believe. And I love the story about this because so many people play a part in that. That was the pilot episode. The lady who we're looking at, who's covered with green paint, is what is her name? I don't know what her name is. I lost her name. Susan Oliver. Susan
Okay.
Oliver. But she wasn't the first person that they picked. You had to audition to get covered in green paint. The first person that they picked was Majel Barrett. Now, Majel Barrett, and I'm sure I'm mispronouncing her name, she didn't get the job, but instead they made her Nurse Chapel. who was in many of the original Star Trek. She was also the voice of the computer, and she was the voice of the computer in every single Star Trek series. So she's been around for every single one of them, probably in the movies as well. And she married Gene Roddenberry. So I think she got the better part of the deal by not getting to be the Green Lady.
Right.
The other Green Lady, and John, maybe you know this, was Yvonne Craig. She also interviewed for it. And Yvonne ended up being a minor character on a TV series we used to watch when we were kids called Batman. And Yvonne Craig was Batgirl. So I think, and she lucked out. She went on to become Batgirl. And then they invited her back to Star Trek. I'm going to show you a picture of what she looked like when she came back to Star Trek here, if my mouse ever works correctly. So there she is. She got to play another green woman.
Wow.
I didn't realize there were actually 2 episodes with green women until I looked this up. So this was later on, the green women come from the planet Orion. In case you're ever space traveling, John and I especially, that's the planet we would want to head to, because obviously she had, let's say, how can I say this nicely, an affection for Captain Kirk. So now I'll take this down here, Karen, so you don't have to look at it here. There was a poll taken recently in Great Britain of the top celebrities who would protect you the best from an alien invasion. Okay, you got that, top celebrity. So what celebrity would you pick, Karen, to protect you from an alien invasion?
How about Harrison Ford?
Harrison Ford, he was on the list, not number 1. John, how about you?
How about Rocky Balboa?
Rocky Balboa, Sylvester Stallone. Good choice, not on the list.
Or Sylvester Stallone, I should say.
Sylvester Stallone. Number 1 was Arnold Schwarzenegger, which, he played an alien, or he played an android in the Terminator movie. But he was also in Predator, where he fought the Predator, who was an alien. So I think that's where that came from. Number 2, Will Smith from Independence Day. So, if you need somebody to fly the plane that shoot down the alien, you go with Will Smith. Number 3, Sir David Attenborough. Now, this is obviously a British poll. Sir David is like the Bill Nye the Science Guy of Great Britain, only much smarter. Number 4, Bruce Willis. Now, he was really good in those the movies. I can't remember the series.
Die Hard.
There you go. That's but he also was in 12 Monkeys, where he played a guy fighting aliens. So that could be where that came from. Number 5, Tom Cruise. I don't remember Tom Cruise ever fighting aliens, but he's fought everybody else. So that's how we Number 6 would be my choice, Sigourney Weaver.
Yep.
From the movie of the same name. Alien.
Sure.
Yeah. Number 7, Karen, is yours, Harrison Ford from Star Wars. Number 8, Gillian Anderson from X-Files. Another choice, another good choice. To me, when I saw this story, I'm thinking, well, what if I don't want to fight him? What if I just want to distract him while I can run in the opposite direction? So the 2 celebrities I picked to do that would be Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. And if you watch the Grammys, those were the 2 that did the twerking to a video. And I'm not gonna get into it. It was very distracting and caused a lot of controversy. Now, all right, so we're on the subject of polls. This one comes from an artificial intelligence researcher who wrote an AI algorithm. And I think a long time ago we talked about this. So she fed this algorithm question, asked it to come up with pickup lines for single people. So this computer comes up with pickup lines designed for humans. I'm not sure all of these would work. Some of them, here's one. I'm losing my voice from all the screaming your hotness is causing me to do. I don't know if I could remember that. Here's another one. I have exactly 4 stickers. I need you to be the 5th. I don't know if that would work. I'm like the ice cream. You can keep me in the freezer for a while, but then I melt. That's kind of clever. Now, some won't work. This one, I love this one. Will you sit on my bread box while I cook? Or is there some kind of speed limit on that thing? Obviously, a computer that doesn't understand the situation. This one, I like this one. This is for a woman. You look like Jesus if he were a butler in a Russian mansion. I have no idea how that could work with anybody, even a Russian.
It's confusing.
Yeah. So, and I just wanted to throw those in there. I thought those were pretty interesting. Let's, how do we do? Oh, okay. I want to get to John and sports for the week. Now, we talked about this before. I believe Karen will agree with this, that we've had a number of very strange sports over the past week.
Yes, we have.
And John does a superb job of not only coming up with them, but describing them in great detail. And I try to supplement them with photographs. So I wanted to give John a break this week. And I asked him to come up with something more conventional, something that was in the news, in the current news. And John came up with a very interesting story that I tested this one out on the lovely Donna. And even she knew who John is about to talk about. So Karen, I'm not going to give it away. I'll let John give it away. I'm going to warn everybody that I have a lot of pictures that I'll be showing while John is talking. And I'll try to describe them for you as we go on. So John, I may be interrupting you more often than I already do.
It's okay, Paul. It's all right. No problem.
Okay,
no problem.
Good. Go ahead.
Our subject this week is a Catholic nun, and her name is Sister Jean. Sister Jean Dolores Schmidt is a religious sister of the Order of the Sisters of Charity of the Blessed Virgin Mary.
Right, now, I want to stop you for a second there, John, right off the bat here, because
Sure.
You and I both have long-term Catholic education. 16 years, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
The first 8 were spent in school with nuns. And in fact, John and I grew up very close to each other. Both of our schools were taught by Ursuline nuns. And I have a picture of Ursuline nuns up here, Karen. These are the ones where you couldn't see anything but their face. And they wore black with a white thing around their face, which is called a habit. And that's how
I even knew that.
So those are the ones that that John and I were most familiar with. But these nuns that I'm showing are smiling. And I have a picture of the nuns that we were more used to.
Wow.
And this particular sister, lovely sister, is holding a yardstick that would work in a baseball game as a bat, and standing in front of cursive writing. You can see her name on the board, Sister Ethel, standing in front of cursive writing. And John and I know, spent hours and hours and hours with a nun standing over us, making us draw our little circles perfectly. So anyway, luckily, the lovely nun that John is talking about is not this one. So go ahead, John.
Sure. So Sister Jean, she's widely known because she is the chaplain of the Loyola University Chicago basketball team.
Okay.
And she is 101 years of age.
101 years old. Let's see. I do have a picture.
So here's a quick biography of Sister Jean. She was born on August 21st, 1919 in San Francisco, California, and raised in the Eureka Valley neighborhood. She first considered being a nun when she was in the 3rd grade. As a student at St. Paul's High School, she played on the girls' basketball team. And after graduating from high school in 1937, she entered the Sisters of Charity of the Blessed Virgin Convent in Dubuque, Iowa. In 1941, by then a sister, she returned to teach school in California, and eventually she took teaching positions in Illinois and ended up at Loyola University in Chicago. In 1994, when a 75-year-old Sister Jean was ready to retire from Loyola, once again, she was called to the service of others, as she had in other times of her life. This occasion was to take a role helping student athletes keep up their grades so they could maintain their eligibility to play. That eventually evolved into a position as official team chaplain for the men's basketball team, with her pre-game prayers and advice to players becoming a critical part of the team's success. So it's not strictly from the spiritual side; it's from actually strategy, basketball strategy, that she is able to dispense, with the players.
She knows her basketball, in other words.
Oh, she does. So
Yeah.
in March of 2018, when the Loyola Chicago Ramblers played their first round game in the NCAA men's basketball tournament, announcers and reporters were eager to tell the story of the then 98-year-old chaplain sitting courtside to cheer on her team. In fact, if you Google the phrase basketball nun, you will find links to dozens of stories from CNN and the New York Times to People magazine and ESPN singing the praises of the Catholic nun who accompanied Loyola on their improbable run to the Final Four.
Now, I want to stop you for a second there, John, because I do remember when we were kids that the nuns were pretty athletic. You couldn't tell from the habits that they were wearing. But I have a picture here. I had a picture of some nuns playing basketball. This is one of some nuns playing baseball. In fact, this is a picture of a nun throwing out the first pitch in a professional baseball game.
Yep.
In fact, there she is. There's the catcher. And the story is that she actually made a great throw to the catcher. and there's plenty of politicians who bounce their throws or throw it over the catcher. So obviously nuns know their baseball and obviously basketball. But here's a picture of a nun playing golf, teaching some young girls at a girls' school how to play golf. Here's a couple. I love this one. You think they don't know football. There's a picture of two nuns teeing up a football for a place kicker. Here we go. These are some nuns playing volleyball. There's a nun playing soccer, so they definitely know. That seems like a better game for nuns because their feet are exposed from their habits. Now these two nuns here are from.
My.
Yeah, these two nuns are from Poland, and they're boxing. Boxing each other, which I'm not sure that's the Pope sanctions this. maybe when the Polish Pope was around, this was okay. Pope John II. And there's another shot of them boxing each other. This is a picture of some nuns in Korea arm wrestling. No, and cheering. They're waving flags for each other. They even have nun cheerleaders. But this is my favorite. This is the Nun Olympics, it was called, where they're actually jumping over hurdles on a track. Now, I'm gonna
in full habit yet.
In full habit, yeah. I hope this is real. It could conceivably be a setup, but it sure looks real to me. So I wanted to emphasize your point, John, that nuns are religious, but they're also very, very sports minded, and Sister Jean is by far, not just a nun, but she's been an advisor, a basketball advisor to the team.
Yes.
Oh, that's your cue, John. That was.
Well, no, but
I'm sorry.
Her role with the team, has also earned her numerous accolades, as you just mentioned, Paul, including a much-deserved induction into the Loyola Athletics Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. The nuns in the Hall of Fame. That's pretty good.
But make no mistake, Sister Jean is more than just a fan, as we were just alluding to. She knows her basketball as well as anyone on the court. When she arrived at Loyola, head coach Peter Moser, or upon arriving at Loyola, head coach Peter Moser got a scouting report from Sister Jean on every one of his players. And he says, she still sends me an email after every single game. Moser said, there is no one like that. So she's that conscientious and, that detailed, if you will. So she remained incredibly active and still at age 101 and taking to heart a saying from her mother. And her mother had said, "It's better to wear out than rust out." She says, Sister Jean says, "I keep saying that to myself over and over again." And she adds, "Don't let yourself sit around here and do nothing."
There you go.
I love that.
101 years
Wow.
old. Great advice. And they were afraid that she wouldn't be allowed into the games because of all the COVID precautions. So they made special arrangements for her to get both of the shots so that she could attend Loyola's game. Now, John, tell me, what are the, let's see, Loyola won on Saturday. So they're in the...
Well, they would advance to the Elite Eight if they won because they're in the Sweet 16.
They won last week.
Right. Yeah. So they're in the Sweet 16, and if they do advance, then they would advance to the Elite Eight.
So who do you know who they play?
They play Oregon State on this Saturday, the 27th. Game time is 2:40 Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Time, excuse me. And Loyola is favored to win by 8 points.
Loyola is favored by 8. Not that Sister would be the gambling type, but boy, I sure wouldn't bet against her.
I wouldn't either.
At age 101, that's just unbelievable.
It's remarkable.
Yeah, it really is.
It very much is. Yes.
Yeah. So great story, John. Thank you. Sister Jean, she well deserved. And now she made it to What in the World. So she's in the Loyola Hall of Fame, and now she's on What in the World. You just can't beat that.
You can't.
No, I don't think so. So anyway, so there's our basketball story for the week. I've got another one that I want to share with you next week, John. We'll be back into the weird sports again. So let's take this down. Thanks again there. It was a nice trip down memory lane, remembering the nuns. I recall I have my mom's cousin is a nursery nun, and she was a huge baseball fan. The nuns always seemed to get free tickets to the baseball game. How they arranged that, I don't know, but we always ran into nuns whenever we went to watch the Indians. And they didn't care that they were called the Indians. They might have been upset if they were the Cleveland Nuns.
Oh.
But anyway, speaking of competition and odds are that the next thing coming up here is Bluff the Co-Host, everybody's favorite What in the World Weird News game.
Yep.
We play it every week. The rules are simple. I will read 3 stories, very similar to the ones we've been telling all afternoon, with the added difference that these, unlike the others, which are always true, some of these are real, some may be bluffs. And it's up to Karen and John and you playing at home to decide whether it's a real story or a bluff. Wager as much as you want this week. It's in honor of Sister Jean.
Okay.
Okay, so Karen, I believe you're an 8-point favorite this week.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
I don't know. What happened last week?
We tied. We
So we
tied.
tied last week. That's right.
Yeah. Like soccer.
Yeah.
So nobody cared. Well, I know John loves to win. So, John, I'm sure you're ready to go.
I am ready to go.
I think you'll like the subject of these 3 stories. So let's get started. Remember, real or bluff. Put your hands on the buzzer. Fans of the Three Stooges are demanding that Columbia Pictures release the long-rumored X-rated version of some of their classic movies after rumors that they still exist in a studio vault started spreading in Hollywood this week. The raunchy scenes were supposedly shot after the regular shooting was finished, and Larry, Curly, and Moe were joined by many of their co-stars, including a number of the dowdy actresses who actually got naked with the Stooges for some X-rated pie fights. The best scenes are rumored to be Moe hitting Larry and Curly below the belt right in their nut-nuts. While Columbia Pictures refuses to acknowledge the rumors, heirs of the Stooges say that they have no problem with showing the X-rated flicks, and to make money, they have set up an online streaming service called StoogeTube. So, the long rumored X-rated Three Stooges videos may be coming out. Karen, real or bluff?
I mean, they were three oddball guys, but I'm going to say false.
Okay, Karen says it's a bluff. There are no Three Stooges X-rated videos. John, you're probably hoping that there are.
Well, you're leading the witness on that one, Paul. No, I'm going to agree with Karen, though. I'm going to say it's a bluff. I don't think it's true.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you say it's a bluff too. Would you watch them if they really did exist?
I don't know. This is a family show, so I can't really give you the answer on that one.
Well, okay, you're both right on that one. That was a bluff.
Good.
Good. I'm glad that we're right.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons.
It was inspired by a real story which came out this week, that there's an X-rated version of Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, I heard that this morning. Yeah.
Robin Williams, once that they wanted, the director let him do whatever he wanted to, and then they saved all the clips, and they have an X-rated version of it. And now I would see that. I think that would be fun. Okay, so we're tied 1-1. Story number 2. We have therapy animals, cow hugging, and dog yoga for people who need their animals up close and personal. Now comes goat surfing. That's right. A surfing instructor in California trained his pet goat how to hang hoops on a board, and it now goes riding the waves with him. Even better, people who have seen the two of them are now signing up for surfing lessons with the goat. The lessons are especially popular with kids who might otherwise be afraid, but the goat shows them that the big waves aren't so bad at all. The goat seems to like all of the attention, but is now demanding that people who master a big wave with him say, "Go to bunga, dude." So, the goat who surfs and teaches kids how to surf. John, you've been to California. You know what kind of strange people are there. What do you think?
There are all kind of people in California, Paul. I agree with you. All types of people, I should say. But I'm going to have to say this is a false story. I'm going to say it's a bluff also.
So John says, he's putting me on the spot here. You say it's a bluff again. Karen, how about you?
Because there's goat yoga.
Oh, yoga. Oh,
I'm gonna say it's true.
But goat yoga sounds a lot easier than goat surfing.
Well, hey, what the heck?
You ever looked at the feet of a goat, Karen?
They have hooves.
They have hoofs, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what, Karen, you're right.
What I don't understand is how can they balance themselves on a surfboard?
Oh, okay, now, John, think about this. You've seen goats on mountains.
Yes.
I've seen them. I've gone to Colorado. I've seen goats on what looks like a sheer side of a mountain.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
So stand on that. They could stand on a surfboard.
Yeah, but standing on a surfboard when it's moving on water? Oh, boy.
It's California, right. John. He's a dude. He's a dude goat.
He's a dude goat. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Little shorts, and he has to wear that sunblock on his face, his horns. All right, so Karen's ahead 2-1, but John, you can come back because points are doubled in round number 3. Okay, here we go. Story number 3. A number of people have been banned from social media for doing things like spreading false stories, using bad language, and personally attacking other people. But a college professor in England tops them all. He was fired from his teaching job because his text and his tweets contained too many question marks. That's right. University officials said 1 or 2 question marks are okay, but the professor was ending sentences with 5 or more, and that made his messages sound too aggressive, blunt, and condescending. The professor took his case to court, but the judge ruled in favor of the school. What's even worse, he can't file an appeal because he's still banned from using question marks. So, the professor who was fired because he uses too many question marks in his tweets and messages. Karen, what do you think? Real or bluff?
It's so odd, but not, because so many weird things are happening in this world. I'm going to say it's true.
True. Oh, there's no question mark at the end of that sentence.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, so Karen says that the question mark professor story is true. John, how about you?
I agree with Karen on this one. I think it's real. I'm going to say it's true.
What would you say if you got fired for using too many questions? Of course, in your case, it would be exclamation points, right? Not or maybe pound signs or whatever those hashtags. I'm sorry, hashtags.
Hashtag.
Okay. So John says it's true, and Karen, you said it's true as well. Let me see what we say here. That was a real story. Way to go. So
Okay.
Karen, were you perfect?
Karen's
I'm
perfect. Just get them all right. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
perfect score, John. It's tough to beat a perfect score.
I know. I have to strive to do better next week.
You did very well, John. You did very well as always. Thank you for the great story. Thank you for the color commentary as always. Always good to see you once a week here. Karen, for everything that you do at nuclearradio.net, there's not enough thanks in the world. You get our podcast up with it. We should be up shortly on all the platforms and on YouTube. So thanks for doing that. For everybody listening, thank you for listening. Please tune in next week. Wherever you go, if you're supposed to follow us or like us, please do all that stuff because it really helps us out. And as always, as I mentioned, when you're over at nuclearradio.net, be sure to listen to some of Karen's other podcasts. It's really a great platform that she's put together for us. So on that note, what in the world has reached the end? And Karen,
It was a great day again. And you know what? I can't wait till next week.
I can't wait to go out